For this special Savoring Our Faith, we are here in the Diocese of Dallas. Don't mess with Texas. The vocations here in the Diocese of Dallas is experiencing a boom, and therefore this seminary, Holy Trinity, is a special place where men who are college-age and pre-theologians can come and experience formation, prepare themselves either for major seminary or how to be a better man and how to develop true Christian brotherhood. So let's go in and learn a little bit more about this great place, Holy Trinity Seminary. I'm with the rector of Holy Trinity Seminary, Vincentian priest, Father James Swift, telling us a little bit about what it's like to be in the seminary. First of all, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Father Leo.
Tell me a little bit about the place, its history, and what is unique about it.
Well, welcome to Holy Trinity Seminary. We've been around for about 50 years. We were founded by Bishop Gorman during the Second Vatican Council. He had a vision of seminary where seminary would be interacting with the real culture and the real lives of people. And so he wanted this seminary on the campus of a Catholic university where our men would go up to classes every day and interact with men and women their own age. And so we've been here now for 50 years forming the next generations of priests.
And how many dioceses are represented and how many students live here?
We have about on an average of around 70 or so. We can hold around 80, and we have about 70 representing some 15 dioceses across the southern United States, all the way from New Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, South Carolina.
And as a Vincentian priest, I didn't know this, but your charism is to help form men in the priesthood. But this place is a little different. It's not where they actually do their intellectual formation. What's the difference?
Well, here they go up to the university for their intellectual formation. All the rest of their formation is done here. Their human formation, their spiritual formation, their pastoral formation. And we're dealing with a very special age crowd, 18 to 22-year-olds, and then some older men. But they're at that special age in their life where they're really still discerning God's call, and we're helping them understand the gifts that God might have given them for priesthood.
So for all of the guys thinking about vocations and discernment, once you come here, it doesn't mean you're immediately going to become a priest.
No, actually, this is not just a house of formation. This is also a house of discernment. And so we always say to men who are thinking about the priesthood, if you think Jesus might be calling you to the priesthood, where better could you go than to a seminary, a college seminary? Here will help you understand God's will, discern God's will. You'll get a lot of formation that'll make all the difference in the world, even if you decide that priesthood is not your calling.
Because at the end of this experience, they're just going to be better husbands, better anything.
Better fathers, better Catholics,
Yeah.
better members of the church, better evangelizers.
And what makes it so? What type of experiences do they go through? What's their day like?
Well, they go through a lot of experiences across a wide spectrum of activities, from prayer to interacting with each other. We have a very lively sports program here. They're going to classes, but they're also in formation sessions. And then there's the interaction between themselves, among themselves, that really does a lot in their own formation. But we start the day early here. I like to say that we always try to wake up God in the morning. We start with prayer at 6:30. Many of them are in chapel by 5:30 in the morning, making a holy hour, and then they have breakfast, and then they're off to classes at the university, but then they come back down here for formation classes, for getting together among themselves as diocesan brothers, and of course a big part, as I said, is sports. They really enjoy their sports programs.
So they have a lot of fun, and your experience as a formator and the rector, can I ask you, what have you learned from them? Because you're here to serve them, but at the same time, they really offer something to us, don't they?
They really do. First of all, you know their expression, what we call seminarians in the church, we call them the spes gregis. That's Latin for the hope of the flock. They are the hope of the future of the Catholic Church, because everyone out there wants their family, their children, their grandchildren to have priests who can baptize, who can counsel, celebrate Mass for them, hear their confessions. This is the hope of the flock, and they do that for me. They give me hope. They renew my own priestly vocation every day as I see them with such zeal and desire to be good priests someday.
And the community that you have here is obviously strengthened, not just with the formation experience, but that gathering around the Lord's table and even your refectory dining room table.
Absolutely.
How fitting. Tell me a little bit about your name, Holy Trinity, and the icon behind you.
Well, we are Holy Trinity Seminary, and of course, as the icon shows, the Holy Trinity is about a relationship, the relationship of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, forming a real communion among themselves. And you see in the icon, they are gathered around a Eucharistic cup. And that's what we do here too. We are a family. We are a family much like the first apostles gathered around Jesus. We gather around Jesus many times during the day, then we gather with each other as a family, learning about each other, learning how to interact with each other, accept each other in our weaknesses, some of the things that kind of annoy us at times.
Oh my gosh, you're really talking about a real brotherhood here.
A real brotherhood, and looking beyond those differences to say, hey, I can still respect you, I can still care for you, because that's how we want them to form family in the parishes that they go to someday.
Yeah, so really, the sacred work of seminary formation is about developing a brotherhood with the Lord, and that happens around the Lord's table, but it begins in the domestic church's table, their dinner table, and the refectory table. And all this talk about food and hospitality, as seen in the icon, gets me a little hungry, which is why we're going to make our next stop to another place where brotherhood is developed, DeVivo Brothers Eatery. So join us for some food for the body, as Father, you have truly fed us food for the soul. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Father Leo.
Hey, we're talking about brotherhood here, and I am at DeVivo Brothers Eatery in Keller. It's only about a half an hour away, but so totally worth it. We've got John and we've got Ralph. He's the baby. I'm calling him Ralphio, right? But you guys, what are you famous for here in Keller?
Well, we like to think that we're famous for our scratch food and cooking. Ralph and I started our passion for cooking at a very young age. We had a mom that could cook like Raymond's mom on Everybody Loves Raymond. And I can remember being 10 years old and cleaning squid in the kitchen,
image right there.
shooting ink
squid,
at each other and at the ceiling. We've cooked for a very long time, and we've been in the industry for 20 plus years each.
And your style of cooking is what, rustic comfort food?
And that means the comfort food part means you're not going to leave here hungry.
Anyway, you guys are brothers. You guys fight. Go ahead, be honest. Don't lie to a priest.
We disagree every now and again, and sometimes we heatedly disagree, but it's all for the good.
Yeah, and you know what? As a family, owning a restaurant together, it's not easy. But you guys are famous for not just your amazing pastries, and they're all homemade. This one is super famous. It's the Italian cream.
It is.
And then your portions are huge. And so when people come here,
We like to say we DeVivo size everything.
DeVivo size
It's our
everything.
job to make sure you don't leave here hungry.
And their food is super savory. I was in the kitchen watching them cook. They're gonna bring out 3 awesome meals, and I'm ready to taste them. Meatloaf is on the grill. Mom would squeeze a little bit of spinach in there just so that the kids would eat their vegetables. Smart woman. Talking about comfort food, thank you. Meatloaf. Oh my gosh, those are some generous portions. And do I see a little spinach here?
You do. This is one of our most popular dishes, and meatloaf is not one of the most popular dishes you would order when you go out somewhere. But for us, we sell a lot of meatloaf here. We make it every day and still can't keep up.
So good. And since we're in the South, we gotta have some fried chicken, right? But you guys have chicken, thank you. Chicken fried chicken. With this like homemade gravy?
With a name like Comfort Food attached to our name, you have to have chicken fried chicken, right? Well, what we did here was we added a sausage gravy, which is our little spin on chicken fried chicken. And it's really a newer dish for us, but turned out to be one of everybody's favorites.
This says it all. I love the crunch on there. And it's so flavored nicely. Yeah, you guys know what you're doing. Sorry, Mr. Sanders, Colonel. This is really good too. That's the chicken for the sandwich named after his daughter, Stella. So you've got these two great things, but now we brought out a special someone who is famous. Thank you so much. This is, tell us what this is.
This is our Stella sandwich, our most popular sandwich named after our favorite 5-year-old, my little girl Stella.
This is awesome. Look, there's even vegetables in here too. Hey, you know what's next on your list, and how are you kind of giving back to the community?
Well, we like to donate to charities such as Pregnancy Help for You, and we do a lot in our community. What's next for us? That's what we're trying to figure out.
We're looking to grow, only time will tell, and hopefully we can move forward and expand at some point.
Well, I think that's why prayer is so important, you know. The one thing that you should really always be expanding upon is loving each other as family, loving your customers as family, and loving them through your food, which is really awesome. And can I tell you something? This is one amazing sandwich, but it's nothing compared to this amazing little girl and this restaurant. But you know what? People come here and they feel very much at home. But if you don't have the chance to come out here, they will come to you with not just a food truck, a fire truck that brings you awesome food. Let's go check it out. Just in about 60 to 90 seconds, this pizza is looking perfect. Awesome. This pizza from the DeVivo Brothers eatery. Do you have a name for this thing?
Hook and ladder.
Hook and ladder.
Hook and ladder pizza
I love
company.
it. Because if you want delicious food, it doesn't have to take that long. It just takes some brotherly love, a family that comes together, prays together, and eats together. Let's give this a go. Man, that is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Everything is so fresh. You guys are characters, and they know how to cook. And probably the best thing about it is, when I'm here, I really am part of their family. Will you guys travel to Baltimore?
I'm there.
Awesome. I'm here at the Market Street Kitchen in Dallas, basically cooking with my seminarian brothers and Father Edwin. We are going to be making for you some angel biscuits. We're also going to be making some chicken fried chicken inspired by the DeVivo Brothers eatery. We're also going to make a simple, delicious slaw. To accompany the chicken fried chicken, we're also going to make great grandma's southern white gravy with sausage. This is going to be a delicious time where we discuss what it means to be brothers. And up first, we've got Will Rooney. He's going to be making some angel biscuits. We've got seminarian Michael Bainham. And then we've also got their boss in a way, Father Edwin. And thank you for picking the tallest vocation director in the Diocese of Dallas. This just makes me feel like I need to pray, all right? So, look. Prayers worked, I just grew. What we've got to do though, we've got to get these biscuits made because we've got to get them to rise, which is probably why they're called angel biscuits.
That's right, yeah. They rise up pretty high.
So where did you learn this recipe?
I learned it from my mom. She made them all the time when we were growing up.
So he better not mess this up or Mama is definitely going to be mad at you.
She'll be pretty frustrated with me.
All right, so let's go ahead and get these made. To make these fluffy angel biscuits, combine warm water, yeast, and sugar, whisk together, and set aside to proof. In a large bowl, sift together 1 cup of flour, dry milk, salt, and baking powder. you're going to just basically cut some of the butter into the flour using a fork or using your hands. Add the yeast mixture to the bowl and mix thoroughly. Add the remaining flour a little at a time, mixing until the dough forms a sticky ball. Add the dough to a lightly floured work surface so that we can roll it out and prepare it for rising and baking. You know, making dough, especially working the flour, it's basically a very messy job. And for us priests, we're wearing black. That's why I'm going to make him roll this out. So he's going to have to roll this all out. Then what comes after this? Don't get him to do it. He's got to do the work because you just came from seminary classes, right? So get this rolling out. Tell him what to do and what's going to come next. Oh, dude. Not so hard. I mean, like, I get it. You've got muscles. Fine, yeah. But nice and light, because how high do we want to get this going?
Just about a half an inch.
About a half an inch, yeah. Gentle.
More like this? Okay.
Yeah, and here's why. And you know, Father, when we work with seminarians, it is a gentle process, isn't it? I mean,
Trying to be.
Kind of corny, but what we've got is dough, and they've got to be formed into some image of Christ, who was known as the good and gentle shepherd, right? So you see what I'm doing here? I'm basically making sure that you guys see how food and faith analogies come together. How's he doing?
Yeah, it's about right.
If he was a seminarian, what kind of grade would he get?
About a B+.
There you go.
I'll remember that.
Okay. So now what he's got, that's a good height.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's perfect.
So what does he got to do?
So you're just going to take a
Very
biscuit
good,
cutter
Father.
right there
Uh-huh.
and do a nice...
And these are all going to go here, and then at some point we're going to just basically dab this all with some butter, and then we're going to let this rise for about 40 minutes and then baked in the oven. Is that right? We're going to bake it? What's the temperature?
We're baking them at 450 for about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay. And you see, basically what he's doing is he's taking this and he's using a mold, cutting it out. Now, Father, can I ask you though, because some people are going to make some analogies of the priesthood, at least I would. Is formation seminary cookie cutting?
It's individual for each person.
All right.
You're trying to help a young man become the man that he needs to be, where Christ can use him, where the Spirit will be a leaven in his life to
like
raise
this.
him up.
Leaven, get it?
Yeah.
You get it?
Tried my best.
And then, but it is also a process. It's a patient process. How many years does it take for them to become a seminarian or a priest?
There's an undergrad process and a graduate process. So the time for a diocesan priest is normally about 7 to 9 years.
Okay.
Because A, we want you to be sure where the Lord is calling you, and B, you're learning about how to be a priest, how to study philosophy, theology, the 2,000 years tradition of the church, and really becoming that man who Christ wants you to be, so you can be that kind and gentle shepherd.
See, that's how it works. Now, let me ask you this, Will. What was the one thing that got you to the point where you said, I want to study to become a priest? Because just because they're studying to become a priest, there's no guarantee that you're going to be... No, I'm kidding. There is no guarantee that you're going to become a priest, because it could be you discerning out or the church discerns this might not be the best fit. But for you, making that decision to enter seminary is a big deal. What was that for you?
Yeah, well, I went to Texas A&M before coming to seminary, and there was an adoration chapel right next to campus, and I was able to have an adoration hour for the final 2 years there, and it was after one of those adoration hours, actually right before the engineering career fair that I was about to go to, that I decided.
Here's a food and faith analogy.
I don't need to go.
Spending time in front of the consecrated bread.
That's true.
See what that is? So really, it's all about prayer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray that these rise in time so that they can bake for about 10 minutes.
10 to 12 minutes. Just
In
till it's
what kind of
lightly
oven?
golden. 450.
450-degree oven. And then I'm going to be making some fried chicken inspired by the DeVivo Brothers. As a former faculty member for a major seminary, we all reminded the students that sure, you can experience formation everywhere, but there's one unique place where formation should occur, and that's at the dinner table with your friends who are eventually going to be called your brothers. It's a place where you learn how to relate with one another in a more familiar way. which is why at the end of seminary, we don't just call you brother, we call you father, because you, my brother priest, gather the Lord's flock around his table. You can eat these biscuits that you made. They're going to be delicious. They're cooking in the oven right now, but I'm going to make some fried chicken. And this is kind of like an ode to breakfast because Jesus had great times with his seminarians, the disciples, at breakfast. I'm thinking, have you anything to eat? They gave him fish. And then when they were fishing, have you caught anything? They made what? It was roast fish and some bread.
Right.
So that's what I'm going to be doing. But a lot of times people get kind of, they think that priesthood is boring. How is that possible?
Well, the priesthood's far from being boring. Most of the time, people think that we only work on Sundays, but in a day, even during the week, you'll experience what normal people experience in a lifetime in one day. Baptisms, funerals, weddings, calls to the sick, celebrating Mass. And so
Forgiveness of sins like I did here when I just cracked some egg. That's all right. This is just going to be for an egg wash. But you're right. I mean, there's so much that happens. The only thing that really can help with all of this is if brothers stay together. And that's what we're focusing on, making sure that we develop fraternity so that we can lead to a community, which eventually will lead to communion. And you know what's going to help bring them together? Food. Fried chicken. Let me show you how to make this. It's super easy. To make the fried chicken, create an egg wash by beating 3 eggs with a 1/4 cup of water. Season the chicken tenders with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Season the flour with a little bit of salt, garlic powder, and black pepper. Dredge the chicken in the flour, then add it to the egg wash mixture. Return it to the dredging flour, and to get it extra crispy, put it back in the egg wash mixture. From there, you're going to add it to the panko, which is Japanese-style breadcrumbs. Make sure they're evenly coated. Give it a few minutes so that all of the ingredients come together before adding it to hot oil at 325 degrees, cooking until it's golden brown, about 7 to 10 minutes. When it's cooked, strain it or put it on a plate that has a paper towel to catch the excess grease. Now that we've got the fried chicken, we're going to make a super slaw. But you know what? Guys have questions about how to discern the process. What do you do if you got a guy calling you? What do you recommend?
Well, I tell them that, you're never going to be able to hear God's voice telling you what your vocation is if you're not already following what he's telling you to do. So first step, be holy.
Okay.
Then I would say once you're living a life of holiness, follow what Will did, sit in front of the Eucharist, get to know our Lord so you can hear his voice. And then the third thing, get to know our Blessed Mother. In the scriptures, she always said, do whatever he tells you. In John chapter 2, she pondered all the mysteries about him in her heart. And so I think the more that we ask her for her intercession and to introduce us to her son, the more and more we're going to be that man.
Here's a cooking analogy. You just gave me a recipe so that guys can actually start taking their vocation to a next level. Quick recipe for this slaw. You've got the cabbage. You've got a slaw mix. You can get that anywhere. I just added some celery salt, a little spice with some pepper, some salt, as well as some sugar, some lemon juice. It's going to be super, super easy. Now, Father, for you, with the diocese, if a guy wants to discern, he's got to give you a call first, and then what's the thing that you take him through next? Do you just say, come on in and let's meet?
I tell guys if they want to talk with me, my email and my phone number is on every poster in every church of the diocese. Give me a call, and we'll go get a cup of coffee. We'll get to know each other so that they can feel comfortable with me, and I can see where the Holy Spirit's leading them.
I recommend take them to breakfast and get some fried chicken, but guess what we've got to do? Also make another awesome breakfast food.
Some gravy.
Some gravy.
Yeah.
Biscuits and gravy. This is going to be awesome. Jesus developed his band of brothers, his disciples, his future shepherds around the table so very often, but there was one meal in particular that kind of strikes to my heart, and that would be breakfast. Remember in the scriptures, He asked his disciples, "Have you anything to eat?" That was about breakfast time. And then, of course, when they were at the Sea of Galilee, he had breakfast prepared for them. It's our reminder that while we certainly remember the Lord at the Last Supper, we should also remember him at the beginning of the day when we break the fast, because he wants to feed us every moment of our life. All right, to get this thing going and to keep that brotherhood and breakfast thing going, we've got Michael going to teach us great-grandma's
Southern white gravy with sausage.
All right, and before we do this, I got to ask you, you're in a pastoral year program to help a
That's
guy
right.
to prepare for all the practicalities. What's the best thing about being in the seminary formation program?
You know, the best part about seminary, and probably the worst part too, is the community,
I love
the
it.
brotherhood.
But you can make it better if you can cook for them. So let's get cooking.
If they're eating, they're not annoying you. So
You know they're going to see this, right?
To make Michael's great-grandmother's Southern white gravy, brown a half a pound of breakfast sausage and add some butter as well. Cook that until the pink is gone. Scoop it out and set it aside for the end of the cooking process. To the same pan over medium heat, add flour and whisk together until golden brown. You can season that with salt and pepper. Add a little bit of milk at a time and whisk together, making sure that you get rid of all the lumps. Once it's thick to your desired thickness, add the sausage back in and get ready to eat. We used Will's biscuit to make 2 delicious meals. Father, if a guy's coming to you, because it's kind of a frightening thing to do God's will, isn't it?
It is. But they don't need to be afraid. No time is ever going to be wasted. God's going to use their time in the seminary to make them the person they is, and they have brothers to stand by him during this time.
Well, tell me what you guys think about this, because this is Grandma's gravy. This is your biscuit. What do y'all think here, huh?
Fantastic.
You're not lying, are you? These brothers did good. And if you want these recipes and learn more about vocations, go to ewtn.com/Savoring Our Faith while we enjoy some breakfast food and some brotherhood in the Lord. God bless you all. What do you think?
fantastic.
Just like Grandma made.
Yeah.